Hey guys, it's Mangarees and I'm very excited to be doing this video today. I'm telling you, like, I had this idea for like 3 months now. I had the same idea, the same perspective, the same conclusion, but I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for it to be animated. And what is it? What is this it you speak of, my dear sir? I'll tell you what it is. It is a certain episode of One Piece. I was waiting to see the animation of Luffy versus Cracker, and I wasn't interested in the Gear Forge stuff and stuff like that. No, what I wanted to see was the way that Cracker would handle the Kongon from Luffy, and I'll tell you why. The topic of our video today is: it has been proven by the anime, the Yonko are far superior to the Admirals. I know, guys, before you get on my ass, before the shitstorm gets brewing, before you get angry and click the dislike button and leave forever, at least watch the video to the end. That's all I want from you. I don't care if you disagree or agree. Everyone can have their own opinion. Now, why do I say that the Yonko are far superior to the Admirals? I'll tell you why. We are going to start at the War of the Best, and this is going to be a discussion. In the War of the Best, we had one Yonko fighting against the entire naval fleet and the Shishibukai. Now, if there weren't the Shishibukais taking part in the war, if it wasn't for Doflamingo and all those other guys taking part in the war, Whitebeard would have won that war, and I'll tell you why. The Navy would be lacking severe military strength. Now, let's take a look at the Navy. I won't look at the Admirals just yet. Everyone from Vice Admiral and down below, bar 1 or maybe 2, perhaps 3 different characters with some potential, are fodder. If you don't agree to this, then you might as well leave the video at this point. I'll tell you why they're fodder. When Luffy left Impel Down and joined the War of the Best, he was able to one-shot a Vice Admiral giant with one punch. Gear 2nd Giganto Pistol. And you know, I tell you what, I don't want to put clips in this video because I don't want to have copyright strikes. I'm not fully sure of how copyright strikes work, but there may or may not be clips in this video. If not, you can just Google the scenes that I'm talking about and you'll get the evidence. So that's it. 3-time skip. Luffy Gear 2nd taking out a Vice Admiral. Whitebeard did the same with John Giant. John Giant was about to slash him with an axe. Whitebeard punched the air, broke the axe, caught him by the head. I don't know what the hell Whitebeard did, but his head exploded and tossed him out like the trash of yesterday. So that's it. Vice Admiral and below are shit. Now we're going to talk about the Admirals and the Emperors, but first I'm going to talk about the Emperors. Now the Emperor, in the very sense of the word, is a powerful ruler of a region and someone who has a lot of strength, a lot of wealth, a lot of territory. Now, in the One Piece verse, an emperor is one of the 4 great rulers of the New World. Now, in the One Piece verse, there are about 5 or 6 major powers that really control the sea. The Yonko, the Revolutionary Army, the World Government, the Marines, the Shishibukai. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but you know what? That's not important. Now, at the top of things, you know that the Marines and the World Government do not want a Yonko to fall because of the power balance. Now let's take a look at where the Yonko reside. In the New World, as you may have realized at this point in the anime, there are no Marines surfacing in certain parts of the New World. At the very beginning of the New World, that is Fishman Island, where we never saw many Marines to begin with, because you know Marines don't need to go there. And in Dressroba, Ponkaza, that's where we see Marines. But once you get into Yonko territory, there are no Marines. Why? Because the Marines do not want to anger Yonko. Now, when Shanks and Whitebeard made contact 3 times skip before the War of the Best, the Marines and the World Government lost their shit. I'm telling you, the Gorosei were phased, they were unimpressed, they weren't happy, they were very cautious, they were attentive, they were on edge, and it wasn't something that went down well with the World Government and the Marines. Now let's take a look at the Admirals. The Admirals themselves are known as the 3 great fighting powers of the Marines. That's what they are. And we know the characters, we have Ryoko, the least known, Isho, a little bit more known, Kizaru, a little bit more known, Aokiji, far more known, and we have the Fleet Admiral at this stage, and I'm counting him as an Admiral at this stage. We have the Fleet Admiral Akainu, and we do know a lot about Akainu, given many of us hate for it. Now, why was the fight between Luffy and Sir Cracker so important? When we were in Dressrosa, and Luffy was about to leave the island of Dressrosa, he saw Isho, Fujitora, standing in his way, and Luffy decided that, you know what, no more running, even though he's an admiral, I'm going to fight. And Luffy's first attack that he yelled out, I am going to punch you so hard, was a gear second, and this is post-time skip, was a gear second elephant gun, and that's just a gear second pistol with armored aki. Now we know what elephant gun can do. Now, why is this important? The way that Fujitora took that hit, that punch pushed him miles behind, far behind, and it had an effect on him. It never beat him, it never really crushed him or damaged him, but it did hurt him. And recently, 3 days ago, in the most recent episode of One Piece, yes, there aren't many spoilers in this video, guys. In the most recent episode of One Piece, we saw a fight between Cracker and Luffy, and Cracker was using his biscuit fruit. Biscuit? I don't know what it is. Cracker, I don't remember the name of it. But Luffy used this very same punch, a gear second elephant gun, and punched Cracker. Cracker did not move 2 inches. He moved 1 inch, I'll be honest. Cracker moved 1 inch with that punch, and that was it. Nothing more, nothing less. And the way that he took that punch, he used his shields and he blocked it. Fujitora blocked the same punch as well, and it pushed him miles behind. Now you can make the argument that Cracker is far bigger than Fujitora. He is not, and you'll see why in the next episode of One Piece, if you haven't seen it as yet. So guys, why am I saying all these things? We have a common factor, Luffy and his gear second punch, and we have 2 variables from each side. Now, I am not of the ilk, I'm not of the opinion that Fujitora is by any means weak. I'm not saying that in a one-on-one fight Fujitora would lose to Cracker. But what I am saying is that there is no way that after the effect that gear second punch had on Fujitora and had on Cracker, that Fujitora can stand before Big Mom, who that I think is the weakest Yonko, or Shanks, or whoever that you think is the weakest Yonko, and win in a fight. And I'll tell you why. In the Big Mom Pirates, and we know this from the most recent anime, and for us manga readers, it's pretty much first base knowledge at this stage. You need this to really get accepted. We know that there are commanders and stuff like that in each pirate group for the Yonko, and in the Big Mom Pirates, there are 3 sweet commanders, as they would have called them. Now, there were 4 of them, and one got defeated by Mahdi Monkey Rouge, and we have the next in command, Cracker. Now, there's a spoiler coming for you anime only watcher. If you're anime only, then you might want to skip a bit further. In the Big Mom Pirates, Cracker is the weakest of the sweet 3 commanders. The next characters are characters you want to mess with. Now, Smoothie has been disappointing, I'll admit that, but my dear friends, you do not want to be involved in a one-on-one fight with Katakuri. Now let's take a look at the matchup between, say, Katakuri and Kizaru. It doesn't matter how fast you are, it doesn't matter that you travel at the speed of light or kick at the speed of light, because this man sees it before you can do it. Guys, it's a trump card for the Big Mom Pirates, and we know from last chapter of One Piece, that's the chapter where Luffy and the others are trying to escape from Whole Cake Island. Big Mom is at their throats with Napoleon, that's the sword. She has Prometheus and Zeus. She's bad crap crazy for that cake that Pero says that they stole from her, and she's in her fit of rage. We know that Katakuri himself cannot fight Big Mom and win. We know that Smoothie can't fight her and win. We know that none of her sons, none of her commanders with her children can fight her and win. We've heard this from the horse's mouth, we've heard this from Katakuri and Smoothie. And why is this important? Let's say that there's a fight and Katakuri was supposed to fight. We know from what we've seen in the manga and what we've seen from the most recent episode that there's no way that an admiral would easily beat one of Big Mom's three commanders. And the proof is there, guys. If you don't agree with me, this is my opinion. This is my deduction from what I have watched. And we know that the Marines' strongest power are in fact the Admirals. Now I'm going to take a stretch here. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that Big Mom is the weakest Yonko. That's my opinion, it's not fact. And I'm going to say that it takes at least 2 Admirals to fight a Yonko and have a chance of winning. That's my opinion, it's not fact. But what we do know, and that is proven and that is fact, is that the strongest bow shooter haki, the strongest armament haki that Luffy has ever fought has been in the hands of Sir Cracker, and Luffy has fought Fujitora or Admiral Fujitora Hisho. And we do know that the most impressive perception haki we've seen has been by Katakuri, and that's also a part of Big Mom. Going on from what I've deduced that Big Mom is the weakest Yonko, then her commanders are also by effect the weakest commanders of the Yonko Fort. And if it is that the Admirals would have such a difficult time fighting these commanders themselves, there's no way that they're ever going to stand before any Yonko and win. Guys, look at the fight between Akainu and Whitebeard. Whitebeard was on his deathbed and Whitebeard would have killed him. Now, there's no doubting the strength of the Admirals there. There's no doubting the strength of Akainu as Fleet Admiral. But there's also no doubting the strength of, say, a Shanks or a Kaido. And I'm telling you guys, Blackbeard is going to be a force when he appears. He's going to be an end-of-story character. He's going to be far more powerful than we know him to be. And with those fruits that he had, he is going to wreak havoc. So that's it. It has been proven, guys. The information is there, and all you need to do is take a look at it, make your own deductions. And by deduction, I mean you need to analyze what's happening, make comparisons, make contrasts, and see. I do not think that for 1 second that if there's a fight between Kaido and, say, Kizaru, Fujitora, Akainu himself, that any of them are walking out of that alive. And this is the same reason, this is one of those reasons why I think that the Admirals, the Navy, does not interfere in the works of the New World. They would lose too much military power to make an impact on it. That's it. The New World is a lawless zone. It is run by the Emperors, and each Emperor, each Yonko is the equivalent of a naval fleet. Now, let's take a look at, let's say there's another war between Yonko, and I'm going to put it straight out there for you guys who do not see it as yet. In the face of Big Mom, Shanks, Kaido, and Blackbeard, the amount of soldiers you have, if they're not soldiers of incredible military strength, it means nothing. King's Conqueror's haki, according to Oda, that is in the possession of Shanks, and many of you guys think that Shanks is weaker than Kaido, and we won't try to change your opinion. We're just using it as an example. Let's suppose that Shanks is weaker than Kaido. According to Oda, the King's Conqueror's haki that Shanks has would have been strong enough to knock out all the Fishman pirates in Fishman Island. And we do know how much Luffy was able to take on. We know how juiced up Cody Jones was with those steroids. So that's it. It has been proven, guys. The Admirals are no match for the Yonko. That is my take on things. Like the video if you did. Dislike if you also dislike it. You know, we all have different opinions. Share your thoughts in the comment section. And as usual, subscribe for more. I appreciate your support. Thank you, guys.